This is a $50,000 studio setup. And this is a $10,000 studio setup. And this is a $10 studio setup filming on a phone. In this video, we're gonna share what goes into big productions like these and explore how much better quality you're actually getting out of a big production setup versus a low-cost setup.
3, 2, 1.
The sky is always the limit when it comes to your production budget, and it really feels like you could blow your bank account to achieve that really high production standard that you see in Hollywood movies. But what I've always wondered is how much quality do you actually gain from those heavy-duty production setups versus a simpler studio setup or something that you might have at home? So obviously there is a big difference between a mobile phone and a DSLR rig. When you compare the two, you definitely notice quality differences where I see that the DSLR rig is going to produce much better results than your mobile phone. That said, if all you have is a mobile phone, it's definitely worth shooting on and you can get some pretty great results with it if that's all you have. Now the big question I wanted to figure out is how much more quality are you gonna get from a DSLR rig, those amateur to semi-professional videographers or small industry production houses compared to those big budget movie sets or big budget commercials where you're putting all the money into making the studio look awesome. We're shooting a commercial, and when you add up all the lighting gear, production crew, camera gear, talent, you're looking at a budget over $50,000. As you can see for this production, we got a ton of lighting gear, this massive infinity wall, lots of different crew that are involved in the production. Let's go and jump in camera and see what it looks like. What we have in the shot is a very expensive camera. We're using a RED, which can go anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000. We have a massive softbox. We have all kinds of fill lights. We have this really cool infinity wall, a ton of space for the setup, and a crew operating all the different elements, so it looks really good when you put it all together. For this studio setup, we're using just our natural brick wall that was here. I think it looks great. It's a nice backdrop, and then we're lighting around it. The overall quality is what you want to be comparing when it comes to lighting, the subject, the composition, and just how it looks as a whole. To add a third option to the mix, here's a shot that's actually filmed on a mobile phone with our studio lighting. This is a mobile phone setup where we have our studio lighting in place, which makes a huge difference compared to if we turn that studio lighting off. As you can see, looks way better the other way, doesn't it? Lighting makes such a difference when you're filming, and even if you have your phone to film on, you want to get creative and use lights to your advantage to make your scene better. Because oftentimes, using something as simple as a phone, but using great lighting, can make your scene look really nice. One of the other huge factors in production quality is your sound quality. Right now we're recording on a professional lav mic. It's just hidden under my shirt here, and as you can hear, the sound sounds really good. When I switch that to a mobile phone audio, all of a sudden the sound just doesn't sound as good, and it looks and sounds a lot less professional than if we go back to our professional lav mic. Now the sound's back to that more full sound, less echo of the room, and overall it's just gonna be collectively a better video for people to watch.
So let's take a look at the lighting setups for these two looks, starting with the big budget studio setup. What we have is an M12 HMI as our key light shining through a large diffusion frame with a grid. Then we have two 4x4 flops on camera left for negative fill, which is to remove any unwanted light bouncing back onto the talent from the shadow side. We have two KinoFlow banks on camera right to fill in the background, as well as a Joker 400 with a softbox on camera left to do the same thing. Finally, we have a Joker 800 on camera left that is shining straight at the talent to create a hair light and add some separation between the talent and the background. There was also a 4-foot Quasar tube light that we moved around depending on the specific shot to help fill in the shadows and accentuate another light. Moving to the office studio setup, we have two LED light mats creating our key light. One is pointing directly at me from camera left with a softbox and grid attached. The second light mat is diffused and bouncing off the wall to lift the overall room light while still leaving a shadow side on my face. It's a common cinematic look to have a lit side and a shadow side with an imaginary line drawn down the talent's face. Next, we have a small LED light sitting on the floor pointing straight up to add more texture to the background. And finally, we have another aperture LED just out of frame on camera right, shining back across to give me a bit of a hair light.
So when it comes down to it, spending 10 times more on a great studio is only going to give you about 20% more production quality. But that 20% increase in production quality is a huge deal. And if you want to achieve the best possible results, then you got to pay for that 10 times incremental cost in order to get it. So for a production, it's definitely worth it, but don't expect to spend 10 times more and get 10 times more quality. If you're good at what you do and you know how to use lighting, you can maximize the production quality out of any gear and any setup that you may have. Cameras, mobile phones, and really technology in general is getting better and better every year. So it's becoming less about how good your gear is and more about what you can do with that gear. Learning those fundamentals like how to light a basic scene, a 3-point lighting setup, creating mood lighting, and just doing all the things in camera that are gonna make it look that much better are the key things to focus on, and I encourage all advancing and new videographers to do. And that is it, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. Drop a line in the comment section below on if you could tell the difference on the different production styles and which one you thought was the best quality. Really curious to hear your thoughts and where you guys are at in your production journey. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you liked this video, please smash that like button, consider subscribing, and stay tuned for the next video. Peace.